All right, everybody, my friends, welcome to another live chat, our live chat here for the month of April. Once again, I'm honored, blessed to be with you all and answering your questions. And we thank you so much for your support, being a member of the channel. And I hope we can go really deep into some topics here today. I've got the questions rocking and rolling already. We've got a question here. I guess this is from the last chat that we didn't quite get to. And so we're going to make sure we get to it today. The first question here is Dimash, very good singer, I'm sure you know him, using flageolet when he's going to notes above C6? And is it possible for me to reach that too? Well, the answer is yes. Yes, Dimash is, like I say, a very, very good singer with an incredible range, one of the best that we have seen. And, I'm very big on developing all of your vocal registers, right? Not just focusing, let's say, on chest voice or on mix, but doing all of them. And that C6, that's a note that you can reach if you are working on flageolet. So Dimash, I don't know a lot about his training, to be honest with you, but clearly he has worked all of his vocal registers and has mastery over all of them. So whoever asked that question, we don't have a name on that one, whoever asked that question, the answer is actually yes. You can work your flageolet, male or female, to hit that C6 and even higher notes than that if you want. A little bit higher, okay? So, keep stretching your flageolet if that's something that is of interest to you. Now, we've got lots of questions coming through. We've got, let's see, next question is, what languages other than English do I speak or can I sing? Oh, that's very nice, a personal question. Appreciate that. I studied French personally in high school and college, and so I know a little bit of French, but I was always the class clown. I would always look up through the dictionary all kinds of silly and perhaps even dirty phrases, and then I would memorize them so I could say them and get a laugh from the class. So that's the extent of my languages is English and a little bit of experimental French. But what I'll tell you is the voice is the universal language. And here at New York Vocal Coaching, literally I've had students, private students from over 60 countries, and I've had voice teacher training graduates from over 30 countries. Virtually every language, that you can think of, all the primary languages that we think of have come through New York Vocal Coaching. I've had the chance to work with them. And we see that vocal technique really applies to every single language that there is. Some little adaptations that we have to make, but good technique is good technique. And if you work on your technique and you know the language, you should be able to sing in almost any language. Very nice question. Now am I going to this big board right here? Oh, here we go. Now, question 3 here. How can I stop shaking my voice? How can I stop shaking my voice? And I'm assuming what this is meaning is a little bit of a tremble, a little bit of maybe a wobble, as opposed to vibrato, okay? If that's the case, if your voice is shaking and you don't like it, it's not like an even vibrato, right? Our very first step is going to be isolating straight tone, okay? Straight tone. So a vibrato sound would be like, straight tone, You want to really emphasize straight tone in your sound. But what I've noticed is actually when the voice is having a little bit of an uneven tremble to it, it's not vibrato, it's just a little bit of a shake. It's not getting a steady breath pressure. It's a little bit too muscle dominant and not breath flow dominant, okay? Not a push of breath, but a flow of breath. So whoever asked that question, if your voice is shaking, not vibrato, shaking, you might have to get to some breath flow kinds of exercises, What are those exercises? Trills, fricatives, things like this. We could do, or a fricative would be a zzz, or even a, and you see in the cases of or zzz, or all of those sounds require that steady stream of breath. Once the vocal cords experience a constancy, they won't be so muscle bound. Remember, when we hold any muscle, you might start to get a little shake. They won't be muscle bound, they will be breath flow dominant. And then you can take that sound and start to open it up from there into vowels. So that's my solution for you if your voice is trembling, it's shaking. Get into some of the breath flow exercises and see how that works. Okay, now what do we have next here? Looks like Blue Moon. And Blue Moon says, what is a dramatic Wagnerian singer? And why is it such a big deal? Cheers to you, Blue Moon. Great to see you once again. A dramatic singer, or well, let's say Wagnerian singer, because that's very specific. Wagnerian is talking about the composer Wagner, and a singer who is capable of singing Wagner operas and Wagner repertoire. It's a little different than a dramatic singer, but they're very, very related, okay? A dramatic singer is an operatic singer that is known to have a really big voice, right? That's what we love about that singer. Versus a lyric voice is known to have a little bit of a lighter quality, a little bit more flexibility, perhaps even a little bit more agility is what they're known for. A coloratura is the primo example of that kind of singer, extremely light. But we also have a lyric soprano, quite light, or a lyric baritone is a baritone that's quite light. But you also have a dramatic soprano, a dramatic tenor, okay, things like this. That just means that the opera singer is capable of sounds that are a little bigger, a little bit stronger. They're known for their robust tone, first and foremost. Now, the composer Wagner often writes pieces and arias and operas that require that kind of dramatic singing. And so you ask Blue Moon, why is it such a big deal? Well, it's such a big deal because not everybody can do that. Okay? It takes a lot of training. It takes the right physiology and usually a lot of maturity. Usually younger singers are not capable of that. Sound the alarms. They're calling the vocal police on me. Okay. It's passing. Let's get out of here. New York City, everybody. But that's why it's such a big deal. Is it takes that training, that maturity, and usually some age before you can become a dramatic voice or handle some of that operatic material like Wagner. Very good question from Blue Moon. Okay, new member, Amelie from France. Hey, Amelie, welcome to our chat. And, but we have another one from Blue Moon. Oh yeah, Blue Moon, thank you. Singing in high heels, is it okay or is it bad? Do I need to take them off? Let's talk about the topic of high heels. Now, when you have high heels, obviously you're raising the heel, okay? And what this is going to do is compromise the position of three things: your knees, your hips, and your lower back, okay? Guess I'll have to stand for this one. If I position my feet like this, then I have to have a different stability in my knees and in my hips, which influences my low back. Now, remember, your low back is a big part of your breathing system. There's low back muscles, the quadratus lumborum muscles, and they pull the rib cage down. So if you've got high heels all the time and you have your low back compromised, your rib cage is being pulled down from the back. We want the ribs to feel up and open and light. And the issue with high heels is that low back tension and that pulling down of the rib cage. You ask, can I still wear them? Absolutely you can, but you gotta watch out for the locking of the knees. If you're in high heels, make sure you can move through the knees, make sure they're not locking back or getting stiff, but they can move. And then make sure that the pelvis and the hips don't get too torqued, right? Too tilted, because that's where we get that low back curvature and that tension. It'll compromise your breathing system. Many singers, females or even males wearing high heels, will feel a difference on stage with those high heels, and that's really the reason why. So it's okay to wear them, but you gotta move through your knees, move through your hips. I would say, Blue Moon, rehearse in the shoes that you're going to wear. Make sure that you're not in flats in every practice, and then you get on stage, you're wearing heels. Now you've got to rehearse in the shoes that you're going to wear. For you people who are on tour, you're touring singers, there's often raked stages. You know what a raked stage is? That means the stage tilts like this. That's actually the same thing as wearing high heels without having the shoes on. Same approach. You've got to make sure that the knees can bend and the hips have some mobility so you're not getting that low back tension. High heels, raked stages, same deal. Okay, let's move on to a note from Jiho. Hey, Jiho. Hello, Justin. I'm having my first lesson with Mr. David McCall next week. That's awesome. Vocal Police is trying to get Justin because he's giving away too much vocal information for free. Thank you, Jiho. Well, here's the real truth. I've been trying to put myself out of a job for many, many years. This has been my goal from the start, is to put myself out of a job. Can I empower so many singers? Can I empower so many voice teachers? Can I empower people that can't afford it? The thing is, I just still have a job. So I'm working to put myself out, but it hasn't gotten there yet. But Jiho, wishing you a great lesson with David McCall. He is one of our finest instructors here, and you'll have a great session, I'm sure of that. Now we have a question from Leanne Pisters. Leanne says, I went to the dentist for my regular checkup, and then after that, my pronunciation was a lot better, also during singing. As singers, should we go to the dentist often to clean our teeth? Well, Leanne, I gotta say that's the first I've heard of this situation, that you went to the dentist and it suddenly changed your pronunciation. I would be very curious what was going wrong to cause your pronunciation to be bad in the first place, dentally speaking. But to answer the question without having a little more information, yes, you gotta have good dental health. I mean, we're talking about a part of your vocal instrument, right? You've got, well, the breathing system, larynx, vocal cords, pharynx, nasal cavity, and then mouth. The mouth includes lips, jaw, tongue, and teeth. So this is a significant area of your voice. If it's feeling like it's compromised, it's irritated, it's swollen, it's not well taken care of, I would say yes, that would be poor for your vocal health. And so yes to clean teeth, yes to seeing the dentist. I can't promise that's going to improve most people's pronunciation. I don't think it will, but I would advocate for great dental health for sure. What a very interesting question. Appreciate that from you, Leanne. Now we have one from Blaze. Blaze Young, our friend Blaze, and he says, can you please tell me the qualities of a great singer? Love it, love it. That's one to just, hit out there. That's a wiffle ball. Thank you for that one, Blaze. The qualities of a great singer. Now here we go. Quality number one, the technique. All right. Somebody that puts the time into the technique. working out with vocal exercises, if you can afford to, working with a teacher, studying whatever you can find, resources, books, right? But focusing on your technique. That's breathing. That's vocal registration. That's range. That's resonance. That's tone. That's agility, vibrato, straight tone. Okay? That's number one. Somebody committed to the technique. Number two, style. Somebody who finds a style or a few styles that they like, and they say, let me learn the nuances of that style really well. If it's rock, I want to really get that mouth belt down. If it's pop, I want that light, flexible tone. If it's theater, I want my words and my storytelling to come to the forefront and my characterization. If it's jazz, I need my improv skills. But whatever it is in your style, you've worked out your stylistic nuances. Then what I would say the most important thing, we'll go with number three, is soul, all right? Somebody who goes above and beyond just being a great technician, getting the stylistic details right, but somebody says, I have something to say to the world. I know that I'm the only one that can say it the way that I say it. And that's a beautiful thing. And so when I sing any song, I'm going to bring a personal part of myself, my soul, my journey to this piece. And I'm going to be generous. I'm going to be sharing my gift with my audience. I'm not there to impress them, not there to show off. I'm not there to prove how good I am at these skills. I'm there to share. I'm there to give a piece of myself away to them. And then you've got the trifecta, Blaze. You've got technique, you've got style, and you've got the blaze, the fire, the soul, infusing all of that with life. There you go. You give me those three things, you got yourself a good singer. All right? And next, Blaze says, I'm a girl. Crying face, laughing, crying face. Okay, Blaze. I'm so sorry about that. Well, good to know. We will keep that in mind for the future. And now back to Blue Moon with another question. Wobble versus tremolo versus vibrato versus trill. This is awesome. Awesome. Thank you for this amazing question, Blue Moon. So let's go through these, okay? Let's go through these. We have wobble, tremolo, vibrato, and trill. They are all in the same family of each other, but they do all have their own distinctions, and we're going to make them distinct right now. Okay, wobble, first one, wobble. This is generally a vocal flaw, a vocal fault, okay? Something that we don't want to have happen. This is a vibrato that is too slow, undesirably slow. So that would be like if I hit a note, I have not but Hear how my vibrato is super slow. This can sometimes happen with old age, if somebody's been pushing their voice for too long, or any singer who's singing with too much weight and volume and heft, okay? So wobble is too slow of a vibrato. Now, let's talk about tremolo. Tremolo is another vocal flaw. And this is essentially a machine gun kind of vibrato, or a billy goat vibrato. This would be somebody that has like a where it's not so much that it's not moving the pitch like vibrato, but it's re-hammering the pitch. It's the backs of the vocal cords, re-attacking, re-articulating the same pitch. And it is, again, another vocal flaw, typically, because it comes across like a goat, okay, or a machine gun kind of sound, that rapid fire pitch. That's tremolo, okay? Next, vibrato, that's the one that we usually want, okay? Vibrato is that pitch movement. Okay? The wobble is a slow pitch movement, and the vibrato is a faster pitch movement, where wobble is ah, vibrato ah, da 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 ah. I have that up and down movement that is fast enough to be pleasing and appealing to the ear. Generally, we want that to be about 6 hertz, 6 flips per second. Ah, that would be ah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, right. You got to try to get 6 little up and down movements of pitch within 1 second. That's vibrato. Okay. And then finally, a trill is just simply one of these kind of things, where we're actually kind of doing a musical phrase. Or sometimes it can be back and forth. But the distinction between a vibrato and a trill is that the trill is distinctly 2 pitches, or maybe even 3 pitches. But we want the exact note. Vibrato is such a small pitch bend that we're not going to another whole note. We're just moving around that pitch. So I'm going to go through those again because those are cool to know. Wobble, slow vibrato, too slow. Tremolo, billy goat, machine gun, re-articulation of pitch. Vibrato, the small pitch bend around 6 hertz. And then the trill, a distinct matching of pitch in a quick way up and down 2 or 3 notes. All right, there you go. Pretty awesome. Oh, can you do a semitone, whole tone, or 1/5 trill? There are many different trills, okay? Especially like Middle Eastern music uses semitone trills, okay? The piano is not great for showing that because it doesn't have those quarter tones, but Middle Eastern music uses semitones, whereas Western music usually uses half steps and whole steps, okay? We'll leave that one there for now. Now we've got Christoph. Hey, Christoph. This is Dimash subject. I'm training, back to the Dimash question. So that was you, Christoph, from before, is the Dimash question. You've been training your flageolet for 2 months, but it's very weak. Can I blend it with my falsetto and head voice? At this point, it seems unreachable for me to make flageolet notes sound strong. Well, Christoph, couple things. Flageolet needs to start weak, okay? So I'm of a couple of different minds here. If you're gonna get your flageolet worked out, it's got to be weak. That's the starting point for it. If you wanna go super high with it and you wanna have great range, you can't be pushing it around. You gotta let it be the lightest, tiniest little noise that you can possibly think of. So I don't want to discourage you from that path because I know with full certainty that that's the path. So you need to spend a significant time, Christoph, working your flageolet as a tiny little noise. But you're actually super right on with the blending of it with falsetto. Not so much head voice, but falsetto, okay? If you can later blend your flageolet and falsetto together, you will get some really powerful falsetto flageolet blends. I don't know how I'm doing here, but let's see here. I gotta go up in falsetto, flageolet kind of things. I see. Okay, so kind of blending some of that flageolet power with, that falsetto power with your flageolet, you can start to bring some of that up. So there's two strategies, Christoph. Keep going with the tiny flageolet. Don't neglect those little guys. And then do what you had suggested. Bring the falsetto up, let it blend with flageolet. You're right on. This is awesome. Okay, number 10 from Matthew. Hey, Matthew. Justin, thanks for doing this chat. You're welcome. When I sing, I can often match pitch pretty well, but I always seem to be off beat. What can I do to increase my sense of rhythm as a singer? Well, that's a good one, Matthew. And there's lots of different strategies, but I'm going to suggest 3 of them for you. Okay. Number 1, you know what I'm going to say? The metronome, the dreaded metronome. Okay. It's annoying. Everybody hates to do it, whether you're sitting there in piano lessons or whatever it is, but you need the metronome. A metronome is just simply a device that gives you that beat, right? That steady beat, and you can change the beat. These days you can get them on your phone or iPad, something like that. You can get it, and it's free, and just download it and have that steady beat going. That'll help you. Metronome work. Part 2, Matthew, I don't know if you're already doing this, get the sheet music. Get the sheet music. Even if you don't read music, get the sheet music. Because when you can start to see note values, rhythmic values, oh, look at that one. It's got two bars. That's a 16th note. Ooh, look at that one. It's just a whole note. It's got 4 counts. You can start to visualize it. See, a lot of times these days people are on their phone and they're just looking at lyrics and they're trying to remember how the song went, and they don't have accountability. They don't have a frame of reference. If you have that frame of reference, the sheet music, you can start to see those rhythms. That's part 2. And then part 3, I want you to feel the beat, okay? Whether that's, you're going to do some drumming during your singing, right? Let's see. On the outside, always looking in the light. Okay, I'm gonna feel that beat, or actually even dancing while you're singing, so that your body starts to feel those rhythms. It's a little silly, but you have fun when you sing. So get physical with it. You can dance, you can physicalize with some drumming sounds, all right? So metronome, sheet music, feel the beat physically. That should make some improvements. Now we are on to another question. From Leanne, our friend Leanne.
Sorry.
Oh, no, from Amelie. New member. Okay, about registers. Would it be okay to transition between chest voice in the beginning of a phrase and then transition into mix or head voice very quickly, and again ending in chest voice for the low syllable? Or does that mean that we should sing in another key? What a wonderful thing to ask, Amelie. The answer is it could go both ways. If we do what you suggest, Amelie, what we call that is a yodel effect, okay? Yodeling. Yodeling, that purposeful break. And actually, a lot of pop singers use that yodel effect. It's very, very common. So that is a purposeful breaking of registers, where we're in the thick gear, for the low note, and the thin gear for the high note, okay? If you want that yodel effect, then yes, that's acceptable. Follow that path. If you are switching registers because it's too high, you can't hit the note, and there's just simply no way to get it into that mix, get it into that chest dominant mix, then maybe you do need to lower the key until you can work in your technique up to those notes. So it just depends on the song, Amelie. You have to decide, is it a stylistic choice to incorporate the yodel effect, or do I just not have those notes and I'm going to have to work a little harder until I have that in my technique, and then I go down that path, right? Very good. And next, back to Leanne. I saw Beyoncé in her Coachella performance. She's singing and dancing very intensely at the same time. I already get out of breath when I'm walking and singing. Is she singing live? Well, I'll say a few things about Beyoncé. One of the top talents that we've got. Is a generational talent. And I don't claim to know everything about her, but I've heard a few things that seem to be true. One of these that seems to be true is that at a very young age, she was trained not just vocally, but vocally and cardiovascularly. She was asked to jog and run while singing. She would actually practice her singing while doing cardio. And part of this was to train for such circumstances of moving and singing at the same time. I do this with all of my dancers, whether it's a Broadway person or somebody doing more pop and they do a lot of movement for their tour. We need to make sure that you can still do your technique when you're out of breath, all right? So if this is you, if you have to move on stage or dance on stage, then you've got to first of all get your cardio really good, all right? You've got to do distance training as well as short interval training. Not even singing, pure cardio. But then within your voice lesson or within your practice session, we've got to take time to get you out of breath, all right? Sometimes I have singers run down a flight of stairs and back up, and let's start the song. Or we might do 20 jumping jacks, and then let's start the song. But you need to get used to that feeling of being slightly out of breath and still singing, all right? That takes training. That takes a specific kind of practice. And from what I've heard of Beyoncé, she had that kind of training and practice in her background. Now, is she singing live all the time? I don't know. There are times when even the greats like Beyoncé don't sing live. So I'm not sure about the Coachella performance. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. It doesn't matter if she did then, she can. And she can because she trained. And if you need to train, you can. Cardio and cardio plus singing. Excellent question. And now we are back to Jiho. Justin, if my goal is set on becoming a Broadway musical theater performer, would you suggest building my skills elsewhere to be good enough for New York, or start building my career in New York? The answer, Jiho, is that you could go either way, but here's the wisdom you have to keep in mind. There's no better place to train than New York City. So if we're talking about pure training, pure singing training, pure dance training, pure acting training, it's hard to beat New York. So if you can be in New York, and you had a lesson with David, so it sounds like you are, if you can be in New York and train here, train here. If you can't, there's wonderful training in many other cities, it's fine. But if we're talking just training, why not come to where all the action is? Can't hurt you a bit, can only help you. Here's where you gotta be careful, Jiho. You're talking about building a career. While you're training, if you get in front of casting directors and you get in front of agents, you're in New York City, you get in front of industry people and you're not ready, the risk is they might remember you as not ready, right? If you come in there with 50-50 kind of product and you're putting that in front of a top casting director in New York, they might say, well, you're not ready. All right, and remember the work in progress and not the final product. So when you're in New York, we want to make sure that you train and train and train until you say, now I'm ready to get out there, and then you get out there. That's the only thing to keep in mind, all right? Just distinguishing between career pursuit and training. Don't start pursuing your career too much until you feel like you've got something to bring to the table. The training never ends, but we're not going professional until we say, I know I'm ready to put myself out there in front of the top casting offices and top agents, okay? Very good. Now, Blue Moon, once again, our friend. Can all male singers sing like a countertenor? Yes, Blue Moon, they can. All males can sing like a countertenor. What a countertenor is a falsettoist, okay? A male singer who is very, very skilled, practiced at falsetto singing. Now, professional countertenors are very good at it, okay? And they've spent years training at that skill. So I'm not saying that everybody can get to a professional countertenor level, but all male singers can and should be working their falsetto big time. Every day, that's a part of your practice, falsetto. So yes, let's move in the direction of being a countertenor. Every male, let's move in that direction, even though you're working all the other registers. A countertenor goes on stage as a falsetto singer. You just work as a falsetto singer so that everything else in your voice is functioning well. Okay, great stuff. And next, back to Leanne. How long on average is it possible to create an even and supported sound? I'm practicing on an SH, and I have timed 33 seconds, but it still feels like I can improve. Am I right? Yes, Leanne, you're right. I would challenge you over time to move that to a minute, okay? Don't push too far, too fast, but you want to aim for a minute as your ultimate goal as far as pure stamina is concerned. That's your ultimate goal, is a minute. 33 is not bad, okay? That's pretty darn good. Let's try to get it to 40 and 45, eventually to a minute. Remember though, Leanne and all, that exercise doesn't necessarily translate immediately over to singing, okay? You might be able to hiss all day long, but then I go and sing and I sound like this. I got no chord closure. I need to get my chords to be a part of the equation. If they're leaking too much breath, or they're not getting a firm seal, then I've lost a big part of my support. Support is from down here, yes, the physical body. But we also need the vocal cords to participate, do their job, make sure they're not too leaky. Maybe the larynx is too low or something like this. We're going to have a firm seal. So, Leanne, please continue that journey of working your support and your stamina, but just don't neglect it in the context of your sound. Boy, we got lots from Blue Moon. We love that from Blue Moon. These are fabulous questions. I know everybody is different, says Blue Moon, but still, how long should it take to master breath management? A year? 2 years? I don't know, Blue Moon. That sounds like a long time to me. I personally, from lots of experience with this, have seen that breath should not take that long. and should not be that big of a focus, to be honest with you. If you feel like you don't know your breathing system after a year, something's going a little wrong, or maybe you're hyper focused on it, okay? We can always improve, yes, but I would have you understand the mechanics of your breath, okay? What does that mean? That means if I'm inhaling, I've got my ribs, I've got my abdominals, I've got them both. And then when I let out my breath, am I gonna go like this? No, I'm going to gently let it go. Once I have those skills down, there's not too much terribly to go from there as far as breath mechanics are concerned. We need to then see how do those breath mechanics relate to your vocal registers, all right, and to your chord closure, as I said. What kind of contact are they making? So I don't want you folks to be dwelling on breathing for year after year after year, when the real work gets done with resonance, registers, and chord closure. So don't get focused on, I would say, less fruitful, less effective topics, all right? And Leanne says, challenge accepted. Okay, go for it, Leanne. And Amelie is back with another. She says, when I began to use chest voice several months ago, I was flat most of the time. Is that a common issue when working on a new register? Yes, Amelie, yes, 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 it is. And particularly chest voice. Your experience is extremely common. When we're in head voice, that's a cricothyroid dominant register. What does that mean? That means that the vocal cords lengthen with the cricothyroid muscle. But they lack that thyroarytenoid muscle. And I've got that TA dominance, that thyroarytenoid dominance. What does that do? The TA muscle gives us two things, strength, and here it comes, lower pitches. Two things, strength and lower pitches. So if you're not skilled with that register yet, and you start using a muscle that gives you more strength and lower pitches, you're gonna be flat. Because that muscle is not skilled, it's bringing down the pitch. In fact, Amelie, just about every singer I've ever seen who adds more chest or adds more thyroarytenoid dominance to their sound is flat at first. Right? We have to get coordinated so that you've got that length to match that strength. And that's the issue. So yes, very common, but I know you're working through it, and you will see that improvement as you get better with chest voice and chest dominant mix. So cool. Back to Jiho, and Jiho says, also my range in singing is about 2 or 3 keys lower than when I do exercises with B, D, and G. I was just wondering if that's something common. Yes, Jiho, oh yes. See, you guys are so smart. I love this group. Absolutely. You're talking voiced plosives, Jiho. Voiced plosives, the consonants B, D, and G. Consonants that do a thing like this. Bid, 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 or gig, 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 or did, 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 did. They're wonderful vocal exercises because they help to set that compression in just the right spot. It's very common when we're talking about having the length to match the strength. It's very common for an exercise like that to go way up where we want to go. Like you say, 2 or 3 notes higher. Those are very friendly consonants. You almost wish every song went bib, 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 or gig, 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 because then you can sing anything, because it's just so easy to get a compressed but not pushed, a flexible yet strong production when you're using those sounds. So yes, it's common. And what I would suggest is use that as a step one, and then we're going to graduate to other sounds, to the nasal consonants, to the fricative consonants, to every single vowel, and making sure that you can coordinate every single vowel. All right. Next up, we've got Leanne again, and she says she's considering the NYVC vocal course. How do I know whether I'm a beginner, intermediate, advanced, or master? I will talk about our vocal course for those who are interested. This is a downloadable course, and there are 4 parts, okay, beginner, intermediate, advanced, and master. It's all vocal exercises, and each part gives you a great workout that helps you work every register, every different skill, vibrato, riffs, the different vowel sounds. I designed the course in these ways. The beginning course is still hard enough that a more advanced singer would say, yeah, I like this. I'm getting some good fundamentals from the beginner course. The master course is so darn hard that I don't know a single singer that can do it. And why I did that is so that wherever you are on the journey, the vocal course continues to give you something. It's not a kind of course where you can do it in 3 weeks and say, well, that was fun. But it's something that I want to be a resource that lasts you a lifetime, where you can go back at any stage in your journey and say, well, I'm advanced, but I'd like to just go and do those fundamentals again because I think they're important. Or I'm advanced, let me try the master. Nope, still not there. It's just, there's a spectrum. So how do you decide where you're at? I would first say, go a little back from where you think you are because the course is so difficult. So if you think you're advanced, pick intermediate. If you think you're intermediate, pick beginner. But we're very flexible, we're very giving here at New York Vocal Coaching. If you picked one of the courses and you said, it's way too easy, it's way too hard, I don't like it, can I have another course instead? Just write to Michael, we'll exchange it, we'll make it work for you, okay? Don't feel the pressure of, I've gotta get the right course now or else, okay? We're very reasonable people. So just, if you wanna try it, give one of a try and we'll go from there, okay? All right, so let's move to Blue Moon. Can you also conduct if you wanted to, in addition to teaching singing? Can I personally conduct? No, actually, I can't, Blue Moon. That's another skill set. People train in that and get degrees in that. I am not a certified conductor. I've done a lot of music directing, actually. And I've music directed professional shows and equity shows and concerts and performances here in New York. And I've been a part of being in the recording studio and doing producing and music directing work within the recording studio. So lots of music directing for me, but not like, this sort of thing. That's never came across my path, but really appreciate the personal question. Always glad to share about my journey. And we're back to Jiho, our friend. Okay, thank you again. Another consonant question. My first language is Korean, and I struggle with the R sound, which we don't have in Korean. I have enormous tongue tension whenever I speak and sing any R. I feel your pain, Jiho. And actually, I just had a very famous K-pop star. I have a non-disclosure, so I'm not going to say his name, but he was here. He's back in Korea now, and he was recording here in New York, and he was working on some new songs. I was in the studio with him, working on his voice. And I bring this up because, boy, did he struggle with the R's. He could not get those R's right. And he records in Korean, but he's also recording in English. And the R's were just serious trouble. So you're not alone. It's a very common thing in the Korean language, and actually in many of the Asian languages, that R that we have, the sound, does not exist in your language. So you try to do a consonant that you're not used to, and it can be troublesome. Let's talk about what it is and how to do it. First, where do you place your tongue for the R? You have to find first your teeth and put your tongue on your teeth. The second step is to move it back to the alveolar ridge, which is that hard spot right on the top of your hard palate. There's like a bump there. That's the alveolar ridge. Then you got to move it actually further back than that, one more click back. And curl the sides of it, of your tongue, to meet the top of your mouth. This takes practice, but you got to get the position. First and foremost, the position. Go lips, hard palate, and then a little further back. That's the position. And then you got that curl, and then we start to get the sound. Okay? So those are the ingredients: position and tongue curl. I'm going to give you another little cheat, which can be very, very helpful, which is to involve your lips like this. Ruh, ruh. So if I have, that is the right answer. Fine, that's correct. That's the right answer. Right. I can also give some lips. That's the right answer. The right answer. And that can facilitate a faster mastery of that consonant with a little bit of a cheat. It's very helpful to know that cheat, even if you're not Korean or dealing with an R issue, because in singing, we actually don't want that to happen too severely. You are the promised kiss of springtime. I don't know about that. You are the promised kiss. I didn't have to pull my tongue back. So there's kind of two ways to do that R. And I just taught you the proper one, which isn't so great for singing. And then the cheat that you can use for singing and also for faster mastery of that consonant if you are struggling with it like Jiho is. Okay. How are we doing? We got a few more minutes left. I think there's just going to be a couple more questions that we'll take. And back to Amelie about being flat in chest voice. She says, thank you, Justin. I'm not in contact with other singers and didn't know if it was normal. Thanks. Well, glad to share that with you, Amelie, because I'm telling you, it would really be rare for it to be the other way. Meaning that if you had not done chest, you had not done chest dominant mix, you had not brought the beef into your voice, and then you started to do that, and you were right on pitch, that would be amazing. That I almost have never seen. Okay, almost always when people add that funk, okay, they add that beef, they're flat at first. All right, so that's what it is. Glad to let you know. And I think we might end with this one. Yeah, we've got one more from Blue Moon. Can you sing in other genres with the kind of legato lines used in classical singing? Blue Moon, I gotta just tell you, your questions, mwah, so good, so good. Yes, you can. Yes, you should. Yes, you must. Okay? I know that, say, rock and pop are a little bit more percussive a lot of times, and word driven a lot of times than opera. Tends to be more legato in its nature. But it's a big mistake in contemporary singing to not develop the legato line. If you're not familiar with that term legato, that just means smooth, okay? Where we're not sort of punching every note or every word, but there's a smooth line. And let's just take a little pop kind of piece. I could do, you'd think that people would have had enough of silly love songs. And this is a phrase that I like to use because it's got basically, that's but I don't go, you'd think that people would have had it. I don't get all caught up in all of those words. I find my nasal, and I find my breath flow, and I get my, you think that people would have had enough of silly love songs. And there's a real legato line to that phrase, even though it's word, 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 in a way that classical singing doesn't usually have. So we've got to get that legato happening, regardless of the style. You know that I'm often very big on nasal resonance, okay? This is a big reason why. When you have the nasal, it cancels out the consonants. You'd think that people would have, you think that people would have had enough fun, like I am a robot, and then always have my nasal. You think that people would have had enough fun, and then I go right into it. You think that people would have had enough of silly love songs, because I always have my nasal resonance. I always have my flow. I always have my resonance. I always have my legato line. The nasal is a huge means by which to add legato to a contemporary sound and not sound like a classical singer. All right? So I hope that that is helpful for you guys. We really dove deep in, like we like to do, with the technique, and you guys just have such incredible questions. Thrilled with your smarts, thrilled with your curiosity, and just want to remind you of a few things. We have tonight an episode of Quick Singing Tips coming out. So please watch the Quick Singing Tips episode that's coming out. Also, we do these live chats once per month. There's one with me and one with Brendan Hodek from our speech staff. A lot of wisdom from him. So I suggest, meeting with us once per month and continuing to go deep with these questions. Brendan will be in a couple of weeks, and I'll be, later in the month of May. So come on back. We'll do another chat in a month or so. And, we've got lots of new things coming out. Check out our podcast. It's been going for a few weeks now. So that's another free resource that you can check out. And another Voice Lessons to the World episode 108 will be in a couple weeks. So you can check that out as well. But it's an honor to be with you guys. Thank you for being members. We appreciate you so much, and look forward to seeing you next month, if not before then. So take care.